golfers, Nick here for Nick Taylor Golf. It's Wednesday, so welcome to another episode of Golf Talk. This week on Golf Talk, I'm going to take a look at Matt Fitzpatrick's golf swing. Last week's winner in Dubai, awesome performance by Matt. The 21-year-old has picked up his third victory on the European Tour in just over a year, so impressive playing by Matt. Before we take a look at Matt's swing, I just thought I'd mention Henrik Stenson. He's capped off an awesome year, picking up the Race to Dubai title for the second time. Well done to Henrik. And golfers also, can you check out Henrik Stenson's golf swing analysis? I did this in an episode of Golf Talk a few weeks ago, so make sure you check that out. So I have Matt's swing on the screen here. I've got his driver swing, I've got it from face-on view and from down the line. So you can see on the left here we've got the face-on view. So let's take a look at that first of all. So as he takes the club to the top, you can see he makes pretty much a full shoulder turn. You can see how at the top there, a slight spine tilt away from the target. He's maintained pretty much a centered head position. So if we take that back to the beginning, if you watch his head, pretty centered. You can see how his shoulders are turning in a circle, keeping his head pretty stable in the backswing, which I really like. You can see how much he keeps the distance between his arms the same, so he keeps his elbows connected all the way through the swing, right up to the top. We're going to look at that from down the line as well, but you can certainly see here that left arm is staying pretty straight, head is pretty centered as he gets to the top. He's got quite a long swing. Obviously he's only 21 years old, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he hits the ball a long way. So let's take a look at down the line here. So as he takes his swing back, you can see as he gets to this position here, the hands have worked inwards on an arc, club head's worked inwards on an arc, and then as he gets to left arm parallel, you can see the golf swing perfectly on plane there. You can see the club shaft pointing pretty much at the golf ball at that point. You can see how his left arm is across his chest, and you can see how his hips are turning on a slightly tilted angle. You can see how his knee flex is changing, so his left knee is bending forward and his right one is straightening slightly just to help his hip turn. As he gets to the top, his club shaft is slightly laid off, but what I like about this position is if you take a look on his right arm, there's a pressure point under there, and under his left arm he's kept those intact, and he's turned his hips on that tilted angle, and he's got the change in the knee flex to help him turn his hips. So all these things I've talked about in previous videos, so make sure you check some of those out, talking about the pressure points, talking about how the hips turn on a tilted angle, talking about how the knee flex changes in the golf swing. His left arm is slightly above his shoulder plane at this point, and I will come back to that point in a second. But let's start the downswing, and this is where he looks a little bit like Sergio Garcia. You can see how much he really lags the golf club, especially from that face-on view. You can see slightly shallows the shaft plane on the way down from the down the line view, but you can really see how much lag he's creating. You can see at this point here, he's 48 degree there between his left forearm and the club shaft, and that's just past left arm parallel, so that's what position, just gone past P5, and usually at P5 you're looking at 70 degrees of lag at that point, but so he's increased lag quite a lot at that point. That's probably one of the reasons why he hits the ball such a long way, and you'll see very similar to Sergio Garcia. And when the shaft's parallel P6, you can see how a lot of golfers at this position from the face-on view, their hands would be sort of over the right thigh, but you can really see how the hands are almost over the golf ball at that point, which is unusual. It looks like I said, a little bit like Sergio Garcia. And then if we take a look at the down the line view, great position this. You can see pretty much that's the frame where the club shaft's parallel to the ground, and it's pretty much in line with the hands. It's probably not the exact frame there. His left arm is just slightly out from vertical, probably about 10 degrees, something like that, which is pretty good for a driver. Club face positions pretty good at that point as well. And now let's lead into impact. Now this is one of the great bits I like about Matt's swing. Can't quite get the exact frame on the down the line view, but take a look at the face on view here. couple of weeks ago I did a video talking about the right arm flying wedge, and you can see here at Impact how he perfectly demonstrates that. Please check that video out, I'll put it on the link in the description below, but talking about the right arm flying wedge, how you keep the wrist bend in the right wrist, that creates kind of like a wedge. And he creates this because he creates a lot of lag in his swing. You wouldn't see this position in someone that casts the golf club, but I love this position. He's kept the bend in the right wrist. You also notice how we look at his left arm. He stopped the club from overtaking his left forearm, which you'll tend to see someone like Dustin Johnson is a good example of that. Keeps his left wrist slightly bowed. That helps keep the club face close to the swing path without being close to the target. So awesome position there at Impact, love it. Now let's move into the finished position now, when the club shaft's parallel to the ground. You can see from down the line the club head's moved out of view as the swings move round to the left, which you'll see in a lot of the best players. You can see how his arms are very straight from the face-on view. I talked about at the beginning about how he keeps his elbows connected all the way through. That's something I always talk about in the golf swing. You look at the best golfers, they rarely bend, or their elbows rarely separate in the swing. Obviously in the backswing, the right arm bends, the left arm bends in the follow through, but generally the elbows will stay the same distance apart. That's something I'm always working on golfers, to try and keep better structure to their swing. See how straight the arms are in the finish. Fantastic balance in the finish here, and you'll see from down the line view the shaft sort of exiting just below the left shoulder, and then the hands pretty much on the left shoulder as he goes to the finish here. Notice also how he keeps his inclination to the ground. I talk about that quite a lot. Talk about the head on the wall as you go through. You can see from down the line there, he's kept that inclination to the ground. He hasn't stood up as he swung through. Just talking about one more thing to note here. On the backswing, I said his left arm slightly higher than his shoulder plane. So I'm just going to put a line there, and I know this camera's not perfectly still, but just notice where his hands were at P4, the top of the backswing. Notice where they exit at sort of P9, P10 in the finish there. You can see how they're back on that line, and you'll see that with a lot of golfers in the backswing and in follow through, their hands exit in the same place. So their swing is moving around their body in a circle. You can see how Matt keeps his inclination to the ground through the swing. You can see how his knee flex changes in the swing, and you can see how he keeps his pressure points under his arms, and you can see how he keeps his elbows the same distance apart. These are the things I really like about Matt Fitzpatrick's golf swing, and I expect him to push on. He's really young at the moment. I think he's broken the record for the youngest Englishman on the European Tour with 3 victories at only 21 years of age, so I'm sure he's going to have an unbelievable future. Hopefully he'll pick up a major championship one day. So look for Matt to have a really good 2017. Golfers, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on my other social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.